Hey everyone, this is Jules. I just wanted to share a project with you guys today. It's a layout that I made. For Wild Orchid Crafts, we have monthly design team challenge for the month. This one is for September. I was realizing that after I had already completed this particular project that I misread our the details for this assignment or for this challenge, and I only understood it to be a back to school project, but in fact it's supposed to be a back to school project that is like a small handmade gift. I don't know what was wrong with me, but I apologize. I ended up just reading it to be back to school, and I just took it as that, and I created a layout. When Anna was still a junior, she was student of the month. They took a picture of all the students for, all the months, whoever was student of the month, and did a little bio and put them up on this board in the main hallway at school. I had already seen it on the wall and took a picture when it was on the wall, but I didn't want to just put these in a box or anything, so I wanted to do a layout with this particular photo. It's it's a big one. It's a 5x7. So I did a 12x12 layout with it, and I was looking through some of the papers that I have here at home. This one is Hit in the Books, so I got some paper from this collection, and then I also have For the Record, which is not really school themed, but I liked some of the patterns for the background and stuff. I used this black polka dot for the background, and then I went ahead with the majority of it being from Hit in the Books from DCWV. So I'm going to show you guys the layout really quick, but I have some leftovers here. As you can see, the color scheme is nice and bright. There's a lot of black, yellow, oranges, teals, greens, kind of a darker tone of colors that I don't normally play with, but I was really attracted to this. And too, Anna was wearing a shirt that was super dark teal, almost like a grayish blue tone too, and so I decided to bring the teal out in that particular shirt that she was wearing. So I'm going to show you what I made with it. So what I did here is a layout on canvas. But with this, I decided to go with a sort of a grungy style using colors that I don't normally go with. I did do the tutorial on it, so you guys can see how I put it together. I put it on canvas that I painted and grunged up the edges with some black soot and some of the old lace glimmer mist. Just let it dribble on along the sides, so you can see the little drippy marks on there. I like that. And when they did the Student of the Month board and they put her picture up, they also did a quick little bio. So I just wanted you guys to see that I created a pocket back here, and that way I can slide that in. And it's, again, I'm sorry that I didn't do the correct challenge, but this is a gift to myself. So, and it is back to school themed. Anyhow, if I have time and I can do a project to correct my misunderstanding of the details, and then I will do one. So anyhow, here's the tutorial, you guys. Thanks for watching. So I just grabbed all of what I needed and kind of coordinated some different colors there. What I'm going to start with is just kind of doing a photo mat for the picture and for the bio itself. And I went with the teal, the solid, well, not solid. It has a ledger kind of design on it. So I did distress the edges and then I taped it down. And leave those aside because I'm going to use those pieces later. So I'm going to distress the edges of the mat itself. And I cut some of these up to use. This is a sheet of paper that has a bunch of borders. And those are always fun to play with when you have a paper collection. So for now, they're put aside. I'm going to distress all the edges with my paper distresser. And then I'm going to, the way that I layered it, I don't know why I did it like this, but I layered it a little bit differently. Instead of being completely centered, I lined up two edges, leaving the other two edges on the opposite side kind of open. That way you can see the polka dots. And I am just going to put some tears in it, do some paper curling. And before this part, I ended up using my paint dauber, my black paint dauber, and I painted the jute ribbon from Wild Orchid Crafts. I painted it black because it was red and I wanted the black, so I'm going to be using that around the layout. So here it's going to basically just mark off where the photo is kind of going to go, and that way I just have just an idea of what to place where. So while that's kind of drying, I'm going to go ahead and just make these little lace edges, and I'm going to just fold them up and make kind of a ruffled lace to tuck behind certain areas. So I'm going to do that to both of these. Now I'm just dropping my paintbrush onto the layout paper, and then I'm going to let it dribble by spraying some water on it. And then it just kind of gives it a grungy look. I like the splotches. It just reminds me of just finger painting from school. So I wet this down so that it's very flexible for me to fold. So I always spray my paper down if I'm going to be manipulating it. Almost always. I did edge it with some black paint too, just to kind of add some more grunginess to it. So I'll just tack that up there for now. Now, when I taped it down, I only put a few strips of tape behind this plaid. That way I can tuck things. I can still do things with the very top layer of paper. So I'm just going to add some of this yellow paint. It's called mustard yellow, and it's from Craft Smart. And it just matched perfectly with that yellow on the paper. So using my tiny attacher, I'm going to attach those two little pieces there to the corner of her photo. And then I sprayed some glimmer mist. This is Old Lace. That's the name of the color, Old Lace Glimmer Mist. Just to add some shimmer to it. And it does have a brown tone to it, so it helps with the grunginess. So this is what I mean when I just did a little bit of the adhering to the very center of that paper, because I do things like this. I end up tucking things, I tear things more, and so that was a good thing for me. So because I don't want the stark white paper showing, so I did distress it, adding some coordinating colors. And then I'm going to make a flower here. And I already did this to one of the crocheted laces. I just didn't show it on camera. The crochet lace is from Wild Orchid Crafts, and this one is from my stash. I'm going to make this one just a little bit bigger than the crocheted one so that it shows around the edges. Just a quick running stitch. I've made tons of these in the past before. I kind of stitch until I know or see that the flower is basically as full as I want it to be. Oh, I love this paper. So I cut a strip of this test paper, you know, when you darken the circle to mark your answers. Loved it. So I just took a strip off and distressed the edges and then inked the edges and tore some of them the edges so that I can add it behind the photo. Now I'm going to take one of these strips of the flags and make a little banner, a couple little banners actually. So I just cut every other little triangle so that I can have my little flags. See that? So this was fun. Took a minute, but I got it. So I made this little tote bag. Anna uses tote bags for her book bags, or used to. She doesn't anymore, but it was so cute to see her with all these little books in her tote bag. So I made one out of canvas. I stitched that together. And then I just added this little flower just to kind of decorate it. Make it a little bit more girly with the little flower. That's the little miniature Rosette trim from Wild Orchid Crafts. Really cute. That's some book paper from a little notepad that I had. Basically, I wanted it for the little torn, ripped paper edges off the spiral part of it. So I did stitch the background with some orange thread. I didn't show that, but I did stitch like a big square around it, and you can probably see some of it in the photos over on my blog. I also stitched a few marks to the bottom right side of that border down below. On the right left side it says back to school, and there's some stitching just above that. So on this ruler, I wanted to make it flexible and wasn't sure how I was going to place it, so I just kind of set it aside. So I'm adding some paint to one of the flowers here, some teal paint to the top of it. So I'm just making placement here, seeing what I want to do. I didn't like that ribbon behind the flower. I did take it off later, but I'll add it. I'll glue it down in a second. So when I get some mail, like pre-registration news or whatever else from the school, I do get them in those big manila envelopes. So I grabbed a little coin envelope to make a miniature size version of it and made it just specifically for the layout so I can play with it. And I'm just going to tuck a couple things inside of it. So I did some book paper right there. That's already in the envelope, and I added the word bright because she's a smart girl. She's an honor student, so we're very proud of our little girl. So here I did manipulate the paper a little bit more to make it a little bit more flexible. This paper pad has papers that are super thick, so to make them bend and fold, you just kind of mess with it a little bit. So I'm just adding some hot glue to glue them down and give it some dimension and texture to the layout. Really like it. So there's the flower now. I'm going to tack that little guy down, and then here I'm going to figure out where I want to put these little flags. So I'm just tacking some the edges down that I know that I'm probably not going to put anything else behind or do anything else to the back paper or the base of it. So I'm just going to add some textbook paper to some of the ripped open edges. Now the short little flag I'll just add to the very top left here. So I did staple it first, so it looks like I stapled to the paper, but I stapled it first and then I glued it down. Here's a scrap of lace from my stash, my blog, and it fit perfectly in this spot, so I'm gonna just hot glue that down, add a little pop of color to it, and it matched perfectly with the paper collection. So I'm gonna add the little canvas tote bag that I made for Anna. And these little berries I had, a little spray, I just clipped off all the little berries off of it and just put a little cluster behind the flower, just to kind of give it a girly look. And I added one behind the books there, but I haven't glued it down yet at this point. Here I just put the other piece of the paper lace. Again, that's for a pop of color. So I'm kind of adjusting to see where I want the books and the pencil. So I did make those little books out of scrap paper, and from the border paper I took the word chemistry and history or something, I think is what it says. So I just glued those down to give it the themey feel. And this is a little trumpet charm that I had that I added some paint to it. And yeah, Anna's in band and in jazz band and or pep band, and she does play the trumpet. She's been playing it since 5th grade. She's pretty good. There's one of the filigree butterflies. Look how gorgeous that is. I used a paint dauber on it, you guys, and it painted it fine. Just added the black on there. I just wanted to show that detail there. That's why I did a little slow motion. So wanted to add a little more gray to it. So that little rosette trim was perfect for this section there. Here's some words I'm just going to tack down. I think it says biology and algebra or something. And here's some ZVA bling. I know Wild Orchid Crafts does have a section of rhinestones, and I think they carry some Prima. I believe it's Prima like, you know, bling swirls and stuff. So you guys might want to check that out if you're already on there and need a couple. Check it out and see what they got. Some cherry blossoms there, and then some more of the jute ribbon in black that I painted, and one of the rosette trims that I distressed and sprayed down, and I cut it up and frayed it up really good so it looks really grungy. So that was perfect for this corner. And there's the other piece of banner. I did the same thing with stapling the edges and then just gluing it down. It looked really festive up there. I liked it. So here's a Scrabble piece and a wood piece. I just did crackle accents on top of the both of them and let them dry. So here I painted the entire canvas because the glob that I put down on my mat was just a lot. So I just didn't want to waste it. I just added it all over the place. So the old lace spray is kind of gives it a little bit of a grungy look to it. So with the dripping marks, and I like how that looked. Just edged it with black soot distress ink, and that was it for the canvas. I probably should have done it the other way around. Sprayed it after I added the ink, but it was fine. So here is the bio. I'm just going to mark it here so that I know where to put glue to glue it down to my canvas piece. And I'm going to use some of the Helmar's 450 glue just because it's going to allow me a little bit of extra time because I have a big space to fill there. I didn't want to do hot glue because I wouldn't have, it would dry before I get it down on the canvas. So this just allowed a little extra time for me to settle it down where I wanted it. And then once it starts to dry, then I can add my hot glue to the very edges to tack it down and secure it to the canvas piece, leaving it open for the bio piece that I am about to attach this ribbon to. So I just staple it down. and just kind of fit it, make sure that it fits really well and situate it right. And then I'm just going to go ahead and just glue the leftover areas. And that completes my layout. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. I've got detailed pictures and product links over on my blog. I'll have Wild Orchid Crafts YouTube channel and the website down below. And if you have any questions, just let me know. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. I'll talk to you later. Jules signing out of the Jewel box for Wild Orchid Crafts. Bye.